Welcome, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are. I'm Cheryl Heller, Chair of Design for Social Innovation at the School of Visual Arts in New York. And this is our online version of our open house that we had in New York a couple weeks ago for everyone who lives too far away to come to New York, to be here. It won't compare to our big event where we had faculty and alums and students and lots of guests, but I hope it gives an overview of the program. We call what we're doing the new design because something momentous is happening in the world of design and in all the worlds that design touches. Design is being seen by business and by government and by social organization as a very, very important process for creating change and positive impact. So what we're doing at DSI isn't a new sub-movement to the design field, but it's central to where we believe design is going. Before we opened, we were thrilled to be covered in Fast Company magazine, and they called us a master's program for designers who want to change the world. We were very happy to receive that, but we'd like to talk about two issues with that statement. One is that it isn't the world that needs to change, it's humans and human behavior, which is the area we work on. And two, that ours is a program for people who want to learn to use design. So many of the people coming through our program are not designers when they come in. Within our universe, our network includes businesses and nonprofits, social enterprises, foundations. We include all of them, and from all these organizations come our partners and our speakers and our clients and even our students. Design for Social Innovation at SVA is the first program in social impact design. It's the first MFA program created for people who want to use design to solve humanity's problems at a strategic level, whether they work in business or government or the social sector. This is one of our wonderful faculty, Asi Barak, who teaches game design, games for impact. And he said that it takes courage. If you're someone who's looking to be in a box and get a degree where you're going to be like thousands of others, DSI is not the place to go. This is a place for being different, innovative, entrepreneurial, not being afraid of uncertainty and the challenges. I think you can't get to this program by accident. Well, every time I say that, somebody laughs and says, but I got here by accident. And I think the point he's making is that that's not an accident. You have to choose this way of living and way of thinking about life. It's not a default field of study. It's intentional when you are committed to have a life of purpose and to being a creative leader with a life of purpose. You know that and you choose that consciously. One way to think about social and innovation design is interaction design that takes responsibility for positive systemic impact. It's interaction design that doesn't necessarily have a digital device in the middle of it, but it is design of human systems, which is sort of the ultimate interactivity. If we look at the traditional definition and assumptions of design, the traditional designer has always been an individual creator, someone with a vision who had a point of view about what the world needed or what a product should like or what the next new invention should look like. And we know them. These are the people that make up the history of design. The products that they make are recognizable, they're singular, and our whole structure of society has been created around respect and reward for these individual voices in every field, whether there be invention of science, but it's the cult of the expert, the cult of the hero. And if you think about the issues that we face now, the large-scale issues of climate change and justice and poverty, no individual creators, no matter how brilliant they are, no matter how broad their genius, it isn't going to be enough to create the change that we need. So what we need to think about and what we're doing at DSI is to help people evolve from creators to creative transformers, and from authors to partners who lead change within communities and who help the future emerge from a collective group of people so that it is what will be sustainable and what can work in an ongoing way, not an external point of view imported from the outside. There are three things that make the program unique. First is that it is cross-disciplinary, truly. The curriculum draws from business and science, international development, healthcare, ethics, all forms of designs. And we work on systems that connect all those things rather than individual parts. The cohorts and the teams within the cohorts have diverse culture and experience. So the undergraduate degrees that people have before they come are in economics, engineering, anthropology, social science, and again, all types of design. But it's that mix, it's being on a team of people who come from very different cultures from yours and have very different experience from yours that is a preview of the way the outside world works, but it also makes everyone better, and it makes it possible to learn from everyone that you're studying with and studying from. And then the third is that learning here is experiential. So we work from the beginning on challenges with real clients and stakeholders. So we don't think there's any theory without practice, and there's quite a bit of theory, but we study it in action, and students learn by doing. We've identified three categories of skills that a social innovation designer needs. So the first on the left are the traditional design skills, which are the ones it takes to do what the photos in the last couple slides ago illustrated. The middle column are skills that we've identified that social designer needs, and they are the skills you would anticipate as you move from working alone to leading work within communities. So more in-depth skills at communication, at facilitating, at research, at storytelling, at mapping. The design skills broadened, and traditional design skills broadened and scaled up. And then on the right, the green column is a list of skills that are needed by anybody who wants to work in social innovation, not only designers. And we teach across all three of those. The curriculum is calculated to help students grow and meet overall learning objectives, and to give our graduates the agency to act, right? To move people from an absorber of information to an owner of information that they can apply to any circumstance they choose. And I won't, there's lots of information on our classes on the website, so I won't spend a lot of time here. The faculty are all working professionals, so the people who our students are learning from are the people who are creating the new frontiers of this field. And again, they are not all designers. Some of them are scientists, business people, mappers, ethnographers, etc. There are lots and lots of projects that go on around the program. The one I'm looking at is a project called Plus Pool that is being developed by two of our faculty, Archie Lee Coates IV and Jeff Franklin. They are literally building a swimming pool in the East River in New York that will filter the water, so that for the first time in 90,000 years, people will be able to swim in the East River. Mutual City is an initiative that's been created by another partner of ours in Buffalo. It is a revolutionary approach to revitalizing cities, and we've been involved in various aspects of that for a couple of years now. And then third, as a program, we've gotten involved in an ongoing extensive initiative in Brownsville, New York, which is one of the poorest neighborhoods in New York, with a woman named Roseanne Haggerty who started the community foundation there and has been doing absolutely remarkable work on housing and relocating homeless people and dealing with other issues of poverty. So we will work on that over a number of years and across multiple classes. And part of the reason is that we don't want to be limited by the arbitrary deadlines of a semester or a school year, that we want a place where we can actually continue to learn and measure the impact that we as a program are having, and find lots of different aspects of programs that students can get involved in and learn on the ground. This is a photograph of our first graduating class, which will be a year ago in the spring. And they have gone off to work in many different places. They came from lots of different countries. Some have gone home to work there, and many of them have stayed around New York and are working in business and at nonprofits, and several of them have started their own companies. It's a photograph of the first two cohorts together in the auditorium, and then a photo of our first year class. And of all of these students, I think we have 22 countries represented. So it's a wonderfully intelligent and exciting and diverse group that feels very lucky to be here and to be together. And the next slide is just some of the internships that our students have gotten over the summer. Because we are sort of a hub of lots of activity, there are many organizations looking for interns who make requests for us, and we connect our students to them. And I brought a few examples of some of the projects that the students have done. This is Yuka, who will be graduating in the spring, one of our wonderful students from Japan. This first project is called The Silent Author, and it was done, it's a thesis project from one of our graduating students last year. She is from China and was affected by the high rate of stress and suicide and pressure that young Chinese high school students feel to get into the right schools, and there aren't enough of them, and the restrictions that they face, and the fact that they have no voice that they have no audience to talk to tell them how they feel. So she snuck a cell phone in to her old school and recorded really moving interviews with some of the students there, and then engaged stand-ins to read these stories in order to protect the students who were talking, and created a platform to get these stories in front of parents and school authorities who could actually do something about it. And she's been contacted by a foundation in China who wants to help her continue this project. But it's really an extraordinary way to hear from people who we don't or can't hear from, and to make voices heard who have never been heard before. And that applies across lots of different situations. This next project is turned out to be a really exciting and delightful way to turn waste streams into enterprise. It was done by Josh Trehoft, who is one of our graduates. He came to the program just so concerned about food waste from the beginning. He taught us all to compost. We never threw away a lettuce leaf after Josh came. He changed all of our behavior. And for his thesis project, he created a series of pop-up restaurants that he hired a very good chef, and they made gourmet meals from food that would have gone to the landfill. They went around to farmers markets and to grocery stores and collected the food. And it's been extraordinary. It's been wildly popular. He's been written up in the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal and the Huffington Post and Forbes, and has already started a small business and on the way to starting a movement. Monica Sellis is another one of our students who is redesigning the classroom and teaching young people to be more aware of and more engaged in democracy, and to connect them to their own agency for growth and change. Sarah Cornish is here. She works at UN Global Pulse, and she ran the first Big Data Climate Challenge. That's her in the back with a black dress. We have several students who have started their own businesses. Tiffany Gaines is one of them. She started a condom company called Lovability that is ongoing, and she's out running it as we speak. We also get involved in other kinds of projects. We have, this will be the second year we're putting on a big gallery show in the main SVA gallery. Last year, we had one involving food. So each student was given a table and an exact table and chair, and they created a piece of art that represented food systems. Most of them did food issues in the countries where they came from, and it was really amazing, wildly successful show. This year, our show opens in January. It's called Fix, and students have each designed a tool that will solve a social problem. So the work looks really exciting, and I think that will be, if you could possibly get to New York, that would be a wonderful time to do it. We're also really excited that 3 of our students won a SAPI Ideas That Matter grant this year for a game that they developed, and they developed it as part of 2 classes. The game it's aimed at social workers, and it teaches social workers how to identify warning signs of when young girls are vulnerable to sex abuse or sex trade. So they got the grant to pilot the game, and in their entrepreneurship class, they're actually launching a company a for-profit company that will produce the game. So we have lots of ways for you to talk to our students. You can let us know if there's anybody in particular you want to talk to, anything in particular you want to talk about. You can talk to our faculty. You can get in touch with our alums and learn about their experience. And most important, we always say, listen to yourself and decide whether you want a creative life with purpose and in the middle of some of the most important issues that are taking place in our world today. So I'm going to turn it over now to 3 of our students. We have Rhea Rakshit, who's from India, who's an economist by trade, or by trade before she got here. Now she's a designer economist, maybe the first designer economist in the world, we don't know. Manolo, who is from Mexico, and Barbara, who's from China. So they are here to talk a little bit about why they came and what they're doing. I will turn it over now. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Rhea. I'm from Mumbai, which is in India. And as Cheryl mentioned, I'm a second-year student at this program. My background, as Cheryl also mentioned, was not actually in design. I studied economics and international development. So my journey into design was a little bit more convoluted than I would say most other students here. But what I really was looking for when about like 4 years into working for a housing finance company that was looking at providing homes for the informal sector in India was that I was interested in kind of bridging design with development somehow. And in retrospect, thinking back now, I feel in a very limited way. I came here thinking I would become a storyteller. But what this program has been, and what I've actually learned from the program, is that the role of design is much more than, as Cheryl mentioned in the beginning, the role of making things visual. And I think that my biggest takeaway from DSI over the year and a half that I've been here is that design can really be used as almost like a problem-solving tool. And it's a super useful philosophy and just a process of understanding the way the world works. And I think if there's one thing that I would definitely say to anyone who's looking to apply is that if you're interested in discovering things, if you have like an innate curiosity for the way things work, and you're able to really understand and empathize with people, which is something that this program so strongly focuses on, then this is the right place for you. Because coming from a development background, I think the way in which we looked at social problems and social policy was a very top-down approach, which is I'm a policymaker or I'm a development professional, and I'm able to tell you what I think will work, given all the experience and the knowledge that I have. But in design, it's almost flipped. So it's more as you go in as an observer, you spend a lot of time researching and you co-create, which is what I find the most fascinating thing about design, is that you're really working with people, you're trying to understand what their needs are, and you're building things with them. And it's okay to test things in small doses. It's great, actually. I think we celebrate failure here. It's something that I've also come to terms with. Having come from an economics background, it was not okay to fail. And I feel
Although
like
many do.
although many do, exactly, and you spend a lot of money failing. But anyway, so that's just some context. In terms of classes, I am now in my second year, so I'm currently in thesis mode. I am working with another classmate of mine, Laura Akademis, on tackling the great issue of student debt in the United States. And what we're really looking at is we're combining kind of a behavioral psychology and behavioral economics approach with design to think about how to get students, specifically undergraduate students, to make better choices about the repayment options that they have once they do graduate with debt. It's been really interesting. It's been great to actually put all the theory that we learned in the first year into practice. Prototyping is a lot of fun, you guys can find out. So that's been great. There's a lot of, I mean, I could go on about how fabulous this program is. I really have had a fantastic time, and I think that having worked over the summer, I worked with an impact investing fund. I think they recognize and I recognize the value of design. What you really get out of the program is a larger perspective and a systems thinking perspective, which not everyone has, and you'll be surprised by how few people have the capacity to look at a large system, identify all the stakeholders, and see where you can fit in. And so, yeah, I think what's most important, or what's been most surprising in the best possible way, is how large design can be and is, and the role it could play in social innovation.
Thank you, Rhea.
No problem.
Manolo.
Hi, my name is Manolo. I'm from Mexico City, and I have been just here for 4 months, and has been amazing 4 months. My background is I'm an industrial designer from Mexico, and I founded a design studio based in Mexico City called Suhab, and it's sustainable. We design sustainable products, and we work with many companies, people doing projects, but the most we did was designing products. And I started questioning myself if that's the future of design, if product design is the way to go in design, because design it's to solve needs, to solve human needs. But I think that designing products, we are creating more needs instead of solving needs. So I started thinking in these kind of things, in this change in my career. And back in Mexico, we started working with artisans in Chiapas and in Oaxaca with our products, and making like co-creation work with them. And with that project in Mexico that we called Suhab Bordados, we started a non-profit in Nicaragua called us to work with some artisans in Nicaragua. And that was an amazing project because it was in a different country, different culture, a very different thing that we were used to do in our studio. And we have great results, but was there that I realized that we didn't know how to tackle complexity in the world. it's it's something that you have to learn how to tackle complexity. It's not easy, and so I started looking for something different to change my way of seeing things in design. So I looking for answers in Google. I found DSI. I read about it. I wrote some emails. I applied, and now I'm here, and I've been here for 4 months, and I think I've done the correct decision being here. Like talking about classes, it it varies a lot. We have like this fundamental class that for me it has been very important. It's like kind of a therapy you didn't know you needed. It's about knowing yourself, questioning yourself in order to question the world and in order to know what's happening outside, you first have to know yourself. So that's been a very interesting approach for me. And the other classes like data visualization and creating online communities, everything it's very interesting. But I think the most important thing for me is the richness of people I've been working with in this program. Like people from all over the world, many different backgrounds. Like Rhea, it's an economist. I'm a designer. That's I think only here you can see that kind of mix, yeah, mashup of context and you I have realized that these different contexts take everyone to be like-minded to something, to innovate, to socially innovate, to try to change the world. So I think that's
And
it.
ourselves.
And ourselves.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Barbara. Okay, hi, I'm Barbara. I'm from China. My background is a graphic designer. One day it just hit me like design a poster is not good enough for me. I want to do more for the world. Okay. And my mentor in China who works on social innovation, he recommended SBA for me. And Cheryl mentioned before, like there's a way to accidentally into the program. I'm the case. Yeah. At first, my mentor recommended the design criticism, and it becomes into the 1-year project. And I'm saying, no, it's not gonna happen. I love to take my time to learn stuff, and then I find out DSI, and it's more suitable for me, seems like. And I didn't sleep for 3 days and put up new portfolio and applied to this program, and it's amazing. I met a lot of people, and this is the first time I leave my family and study alone in other city. It's kind of freaks me out a little bit, but the DSI cohort really makes DSI is another family for me in New York. And in DSI, I learned how to put my hands on the social innovation in real world. It's not like all theoretically. Also, we think about it in Patricia's class.
That would be Pat Dan and Oli.
Yeah. and it make me see the problem in a totally different way. They shift my whole point of view of the world. And then now, because it's final time, you know, you can imagine it's crazy time. So what I'm especially like love it is we working on a research for Insight workshop. Because we have totally background. It really fun to see how some data you collected and become an insight. A designer can really use in the real world and to solve the problem. And because of the different background, it makes you see every single problem in a different way. And if you come here, you can see how difficult to push your insight from duh to aha, and there's a lot of aha moments in DSI. I'm so grateful for this amazing program, and I'm looking forward to the next years.
And we tell students that it gets better. The first semester is always, you know, people come from all over the world. It's like, what? Where am I? And then by this time, the first semester, everybody's just like, everybody has reached this. They've made a chorus, so it's wonderful. And then it does get better the second year. Do we have any questions?
We have no questions, but please feel free, send any questions in, type them in the little questions box to a panelist.
And if nobody has any questions, you can always email us.
Sure. DSIinfo@sva.edu. We'll respond to any questions gladly and promptly.
So thank you for joining us. I suspect that some of you it's late at night there. And please think about joining us. And we thank you for your time.